This is Buckeye legend Mike Tomczak, and you're listening to OVE Podcast. It's Ohio versus everyone. Subscribe, like, listen, and follow, and don't forget your comments. Here's the show, and remember to always wash your BALLS.
Here we go, OVE Podcast. It never gets old, does it? Wash your balls from Mike Tomczak, never gets old. By the way, we are going to get our clothes. We just haven't picked the porn/model star yet, but that's coming with specially crafted written words for the hottie.
I've got some friends I could call.
Do you?
Yeah.
You know, speaking of friends, I noticed one of your friends was in town over the weekend and did not reach out to either one of us, and I was going to send him a kind of a joking, mean text, all in good fun. It's the OVE Podcast, Ohio versus everyone. I'm the Torque, QFM 96. He's Sam Grooms. Remember, subscribe, like, follow, share. There's a little thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up right now. Subscribe to the channel. Got a lot of giveaways. When you subscribe to the channel, giving away a Josh Simmons autograph framed Buckeye jersey. I know we're giving away an Urban Meyer signed helmet because our winner did not get back to me. When you sign up for our website, theovepodcast.com, you have to confirm your email and check your email that we give you. Check your email. I gave this guy over a week. The rules say 48 hours. Gave the dude 10 days and didn't get the prize, claim the prize, so it goes back in the kitty. And we also have this one. This is cool. Mini helmet signed by 6 iconic Buckeye quarterbacks, including like Rex Kern. When have you seen Rex Kern out? No one sees Rex Kern. Rex is in a shack in West Virginia. He's not, but I'm assuming with the name Rex Kern, I think Rex has like a 12 gauge, a coonskin hat, a toothpick in his mouth, and hunts for dinner. That's just my Rex Kern, and he wears moccasins. That's my, if I could imagine Rex Kern, he's just killing a deer right now and skinning it for dinner.
Think he's doing that at 75?
Probably, because he's Rex Kern. Not like Hank Kern or Johnny Kern. He's Rex Kern. That's a cool name, dude. So I named my kid Jake. Not Jacob, Jake. Jake can throw a touchdown pass. We won't, but Jake can throw a touchdown pass and then change a flat tire on the way home. That's what Jakes do. Today's poll question, we'll get to it in the second segment of the show. Who will be the higher draft pick, Will Howard or Kyle McCord? We're going to get into Will Howard's combine. Not good. And thank God for Pat McAfee doing full image control right now. You heard what Pat McAfee did Friday, right?
He was talking about how what's his nuts was throwing at Will Howard was throwing at like 11 o'clock in the hotel parking lot.
Yeah, the parking garage. So today on McAfee, you know, Will Howard, they say had one of the, and I saw the clips and I talked to 2 people who were there at the combine. And these are non-biased people, okay? One of the guys that was there, we had him on the show last year, said it was probably the worst throwing, the scouts were saying it was probably the worst throwing performance in combine history, that it just was horrible. Now today, McAfee starts the show and says, well, I've talked to scouts who said he's the top quarterback available. McAfee's saying this, folks, because he's on image control. He makes him look bad that he talks a guy up, and then the guy stunk over the weekend, and now McAfee is in like image. I give an opinion about a guy. People are saying he stunk. Now I have to do damage control of my opinion. That's how it works in our business and what we do. Now, listen, I don't think that affects what I would view Will Howard. I would put in the tape. Put in the damn tape. Put in the tape. But I'm just saying facts are facts. He had a bad combine.
Well, and he wasn't the only one. He wasn't the only quarterback that had a bad combine either. Of all the positions that I think should and shouldn't participate in all of the combine, I don't think quarterbacks should throw. I think they should do some of the measurable stuff. You know, how big are your hands? You know, the height, weight, all that stuff. But there's such a disadvantage. There's a reason why quarterbacks and receivers work as much as they do. You're at a severe disadvantage as a quarterback throwing with guys you're not used to. So I never really understood why quarterbacks would show up to the combine in Indy and throw. That's what your pro day's for. Use your pro day for something like that.
Agree. And to me, it doesn't affect where Will Howard's going to go in the draft. We're just telling you.
Well, and especially if Will is able to come back and throw at his pro day and look great. Yeah. I think that would put maybe some of the trepidation to bed.
Yeah, you're doing timing routes there with other receivers. You don't know them. You, like Sam mentioned, when you're at Ohio State, you're doing a whole offseason spring ball with the same two guys. You're in sync with those guys. You know where those guys are going to go, where to throw it to those guys, where they can catch it. And same with an NFL team. You're going to enter mini camp, rookie camp, and then you're going to go through training camp. And you're probably going to, if you're Will Howard, let's say you get drafted by the Bills, let's just say. Well, you're probably going to go to Florida and work out with Josh Allen is working out with another quarterback. I think someone could help me in the chat. He's working out with another quarterback in Florida. I bet you Will Howard could just go down there and work with those guys.
Don't those guys have their own coaches anyway that they go train with? I mean, obviously Tom Brady was notorious for having his own guy.
Yeah,
exactly. And it would invite other quarterbacks and his receivers out to work out in California in the offseason. So again, it doesn't bother me as much, especially when if it was Will Howard and he was just standoffish as far as how bad he was, it was just him that was not throwing the ball well. That's one thing, but based upon all accounts, and I'm not going to sit down and try to tell you guys that I sat around and watched the combine all weekend, but
I got a buddy who did.
What a psycho.
I got a guy who he doesn't work now because he's got kind of a back that prevents him from working, but he used to take 2 days off every year to watch every second of the combine.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my point in closing was like, if there were other quarterbacks, if Will Howard was the only one that didn't look good, I'd be like, okay, maybe there's something there. But the fact that there was a number of other quarterbacks that threw that was off, some of the throws were off, the timing was off, didn't look so good. I put far more weight on the tape anyway than some of this the measurables or these guys throwing at the combine anyway. I mean, look to see what the guy was able to do at Kansas State, and look to see what he developed into in under 1 year with the talent he had around him and the coaching staff he had at Ohio State. And I think that really tells you all you need to know.
We'll talk more about it in the second segment when we answer the poll question. You could comment right now who's going to be drafted first, Kyle McCord or Will Howard. I mean, that's kind of an underlining storyline of what we got going on in the NFL draft, right? Especially with the Kyle McCord, what do you call it, full circle comment he made after the Buckeyes lost to Michigan. He decided to open his mouth and interject it yet again in something Buckeye related. So that's the storyline. We'll talk about that second segment. Columbus, by the way, is trending for two things. We'll get to the penis punch in just a little bit, which is damn embarrassing. But the first thing, Sam, Stadium Series, stadium game, Blue Jackets, Red Wings. Did you go to the game?
I was there.
How was it?
Oh, it was fantastic. Aside from being cold, I was layered up head to toe, cold gear, Under Armour, layers, sweatshirts, toboggans, thermal socks. Still wasn't enough. I should have worn my hunting boots.
Who'd you go with?
I went with my buddy Steve Gallo and his wife, and then my buddy Ryan. I don't know if you've met my buddy Ryan.
Let's just say I have for show purposes.
Yeah, you've met him.
Great dude. Great dude.
Yeah,
no,
great guy.
I know who he is. Yeah.
Drank beer in the out of the back of a pickup truck right outside the Horseshoe, so that was pretty cool. No, it was great. I thought, by and large, I thought Columbus represented well. I thought the NHL did a great job. I thought the organization did a great job. There was a couple things like the band. Like I didn't need the band playing the goal song.
What?
But other than that, and then
21 Pilots.
Yeah, not good, but it looked better on TV than it did in the Horseshoe. I will say that. And then I didn't even realize it when I was there, but apparently your boy and his dog had to make an appearance at the game down there at the Horseshoe as well. So I thought not only did the team get a big 2 points, did the Horseshoe look great? Was it actually an enjoyable game to watch as a venue? I thought Columbus and the organization did a phenomenal job and represented well, and I think showed very well over the weekend. And based upon all accounts I've read, that's a pretty unanimous opinion across the board.
Where did you sit?
We were sitting, so we basically sat I was 4 people to the left of the cameras.
Okay.
So we were first row of C deck 19. We were just off center.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I had an opportunity to go. Thanks, Chris. At the end, I had other plans and decided to stay home, but I did have an opportunity to go, and it just it is cold. I was like, do I break my plans? I don't know. I would say this about the broadcast. It looked great. Well done. ESPN, you just suck. We're in a college basketball game. You got the pregame ceremonies on ESPN News. Then they finally, I'm watching on ESPN News, and they're just sitting there. Guys are shivering. The players, you could see them shiver, and they're trying to skate around and get loose, and the referees are waiting for ESPN to switch from the Tennessee game to the hockey game. Major fail. If you do a game like this at an iconic stadium, ESPN, you make sure that your stupid college basketball game is done, and you got to give us a little pregame. Why the hell are you even doing it if you go right from broadcast to puck drop? It's stupid. You're stupid. The first period, I got to watch an idiot, a guy who's probably in town checking on his NDAs. Let's get real, huh? Chicks love dogs, right? So let's bring a dog everywhere. Let's just call it for what it is. And this guy, at 4 minutes of game time, I got to watch this corrupt, moronic idiot and his dog for 4 minutes of game time. Marty Smith, you stink. You know what? You don't. Your producer stinks.
I like Marty Smith.
I actually do too, and I apologize, Marty.
He seems like a genuinely awesome
guy. He does.
Guy.
But putting him in that position, Sam, the game is going on. No one cares about Herbie and his dog. They really don't. All right, if you want to put Herbie and his dog in between periods, that's fine. Put Herbie and his dog on in between periods. No one cares. Great. Put Pete on, Pete the dog. But I don't want to see when the game is tied and they're establishing the tone of the game, don't show Kirk Herbstreit and his dog for 4 minutes of game time. It's ridiculous. And Sean McDonough, the Columbus Blue Jackets, and his robotic way, they just made the broadcast suck. ESPN could take the fun out of everything, can't they?
McDonough sounds like big voice guy, like he's trying too hard. Like it sounds robotic and fake. Whereas there's other broadcasters that it sounds natural. With McDonough, it sounds very robotic.
Correct. That's his style. Old school. His dad was a longtime writer. He was born in the media business. It's just how he is. His brother was GM of the Suns and then sued them. Or was he the Cardinals and sued him? I don't know. He sued somebody. But yeah, the broadcast sucked. 21 Pilots sounded okay from our vantage point, but I get you from yours. I totally understand your point of view.
It played to TV. It was much better in TV. I will say this. So we were several hundreds of feet from their pyro. We felt it.
Yeah. I got into several FU fights on Twitter with Herbie fans. Let me just tell you this, man, and I said it on X. I will not personally get over I have moved on in my life, obviously, but I will not let up on Kirk Herbstreit. I never will. He tried to take my livelihood. He tried to destroy me. He did it to me, and he tried to do it to Common Man, too. 2 people I know, a friend, right? And when you stick your nose into my friend's business or my business and try to destroy our livelihoods, you don't get a pass. You don't get a move on. You know why? It's easy for you to say it on your couch on X because it didn't involve you, because you didn't have a newborn son at the time. You didn't have a family. It didn't happen to you. Where a guy went out of his way, made calls to get me fired when he didn't even have to. He did it because he had the power to do it, and that's a Class A prick in my book, right? And he did it to Mike Riccardotti as well. This is a guy who's not been charged with things that you and I would have been charged for. Wonder how much he charges for an NDA, because I kind of have an idea. And he's got away with it his entire life.
Do you think his wife has his location at all times when he's in Columbus on the iPhone?
I think she knows the deal. And I can't comment on the past 10 years, but I think she's accepted the deal.
Some would say she had accepted the deal when they were still in Columbus, and that might have been why they left Columbus in the first place, because said deal was violated. I don't know. I just hear things.
Yes, I just hear things too. I don't know. I'm not there in their living room, so I
don't
know. But just if you follow me on social media and I put a Kirk Herbstreit tweet on, just move away, all right, or mute me or whatever, because I will not lay up on this moron and this corrupt, morally pile of crap human being, and professionally too. I don't like him. He's a horrible person. I don't wish ill. Here's the thing. I don't wish ill will to him. I don't want him to slip on ice and break a hip. I don't want him to trip over his dog. His dog is great. I don't want anything physically to happen to him. I just want to expose him as the fake, phony fraud that he really is. The elitist he really is. I'm sure he said, "Hey, bud," and smiled at you and waved. That's his thing. Calls everybody, "Hey, bud." He's an elitist who looks down on people because he was the quarterback and his job status at ESPN. Trust me, he hates you and he hates this city, but he likes the city when it can do good things for him, like put his dog on TV.
So we talk obviously about our hatred for our mutual hatred for Kirk Herbstreit. We talked about how Columbus represented, how good the shoe looked. Let's talk a little bit about the game. I don't think enough people are talking about the performance put in by Elvis. Stopping, 42 of 45 with a 93% or 94% save percentage. We talk about the Jackets winning the game. We talk about Olivier. We talk about Danforth. Was it a high stick? Was it not?
Oh, it was a high stick, but who cares?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I don't – no one's talking about the fact that maybe we've got a goalie.
Yeah, I think you're right. Now, did you watch his comments after the game?
No.
He made some comments that got him in trouble in the past, and I think he just slipped up because it was so his human nature. Here was the problem. Elvis has always had a maturity problem, right, with the Blue Jackets, and that's been a big thing. And a lot of the maturity in the locker room was the guys played well in front of me. The guys played hard for me. They didn't play hard for you. They played hard for each other in the Blue Jackets, and that kind of rubbed guys the wrong way in the past. He did at the end of the game say, this was big for me. The guy, I'm paraphrasing here. The guys played good for me in front of me. I made some saves, kind of like that. I don't want him to go down that immature path of when he doesn't interview the me stuff. I'm going to get into some cool stuff Aaron Portzline said today about this team. But I just want Elvis to be mature enough to talk about it as we and not me. Turn that M and put it upside down, Elvis. But you're right, Sam. He's played better. He stole the game. When have the Blue Jackets, Sam, usually get dominated 2 periods? That's a game they lose 6-3 or 6-2 in the past. This is a really good hockey team. They play together well. You're right. Elvis made some big, humongous saves in that. You're right. We might have a goalie.
So not only, and I want to come back to him because I think he deserves a lot of credit, but I also think the organization deserves some credit too. But the Jackets right now, I believe, are 3rd in the league in scoring, which is something that you can't usually when they score a franchise record in goals in a season, they're giving up a franchise record in goals defensively. But I think you have to give a lot of credit to Elvis for a couple reasons and some credit to the organization as well. The organization went out and hired Nicholas Backstrom, who is a guy that had a prolonged career, obviously European player, and is
Capitals
now
and Wild, right? Capitals and
yes.
Wild.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's now the coach, the goaltender coach for the Blue Jackets. I think he's been great for Elvis, and here's why. If you looked in the past, every time Elvis would be on tilt is when he's jawing, he's wanting to fight people, he's getting super emotional. You don't see that as much out of him anymore. Teams would actively go out and try to agitate him to get him off his game.
You did against Dallas, though.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. But you just don't. My point is, you don't see it near as much anymore.
Yeah.
And I think because of that, he's far more in control. He's settled down between the pipes. I hate the cliche, letting the game come to him instead of him trying to go out and make the big play. He's a lot more under control of his game. And I think, again, the Blue Jackets are scoring a lot of goals right now. The offense is great. But I think we need to maybe give a little bit of credit to Elvis because in the past, we've been highly critical of him.
Yeah, good. Absolutely. And the one thing I think maturity, he got married. He has 2 kids. He wants to be here. And I think he always wanted to be here. I think when Sam mentioned the maturity, there was that stuff a couple years ago where trade me. No, I don't want to get traded. I talked to John Davidson on the record where John Davidson said, we didn't hear any of this. This was Elvis or his agent going to the press. Elvis mentioned something during a post-game press conference, but they never really approached us about it. That's immaturity, right? Where you say something to the press and, I want to get traded, but you don't say it to management. I think he's always wanted to be here. I just think he is, dude, you know me, Sam. Sometimes I go out, fly off the handle for a little bit, 10, 15 minutes. I did on your Facebook page, just jawing with someone else. But I think it's just a thing he has because he cares, and it's a good thing. I think he really does care. I think he really does like this city, and because of his play, Sam, his contract situation went from all right, let's just get through 3 years so we can buy him out, to hey, this could end up being a pretty good contract for the team. Where when they first signed it, and I never liked the Blue Jackets' approach with Steve Mason when they re-upped him after 1 year, and Elvis when they re-upped him when they didn't have to at 1 year. You didn't have to go five for 25. But it turns out that this might be a deal that's not going to hammer them down the road.
Well, and we talked about we talk about the trade deadline coming up. By the way, don't look now. The Columbus Blue Jackets are 4 points away from second in the Metro. By the way,
yeah,
we have the trade deadline coming up this Friday, which I believe is the 7th at 3:00. I did listen to your interview with Porty this morning, and thankfully Waddell is not talking about and going out and really leveraging your assets for a rental player. And I thought that would have been kind of the approach that he's taken to this point. Think of the additions that he's made to this team that have really contributed. He being Waddell, Aston Reese, JVR, James Van Riemsdyk, who is a dog, by the way.
Yeah, I think he's going to stick around. I think they're gonna keep him. There's a rumor that they might move him. I think he's here to stay. Well, I don't know about next year, but this
Aston Reese is contributing. But think about this. So we obviously talk about Zach Werenski having this great year to this point, right? Have you noticed who is paired up with him on the top pairing and defensively?
Fabro.
Dante Fabro, whom you got off of waivers from Nashville. So I guess I say all of that to say that Don Waddell would have gone against his approach to this team and kind of how he's constructed it if he were to go out and leverage some of these assets for rental players. I think he may go out and get you a forward. By all accounts, that's what they're trying to get. He's going to go out and get a player, but I think it's going to be a player that they can have maybe some term or something to their benefit to add to this team without taking too much of the room or of the, he wants to basically kind of show the team some support to offer some help, but I also don't think he wants to disrupt the vibe right now either.
Well, that's why you take a fourth. You got 2 extra picks, a third and a fourth, 2 extra ones. That's why you take one of those and trade it for Nick Foligno. And you bring Nick Foligno back. And you bring Nick Foligno for another run with this team. Nick is a guy, if you have to have him do it, he can jump up to 2. Really, with Chinnikov coming back tomorrow night, you really don't need it because once Sillinger comes back, you can move Boone to the third pairing. That's what I would really like to see Boone at that third line pairing and put Foligno with Boone and Sillinger. And then you got a line there, Sam, where if you look at playoff runs in the NHL, teams always have a line that is a pain in the ass line for the top offensive forwards on the other team. They do. They talk about those lines that can take away the best players. If you did Boone, Nick Foligno, and Sillinger, that's a grinder line that you can match up against the team's top line and really frustrate them. That's what one thing, Sam, this team needs is a defensive line, a third pairing that can go toe-to-toe, especially when you're at home and you get less ice change, that can annoy the hell out of the opposite team, because that's what teams do in the playoffs. They have their top scoring lines. They have their grunts that throw their body out and check and beat the hell out of you. And then they have a third line that sparks a goal every now and then, high energy veterans that really deter and frustrate the top line. I would love to see a Nick Foligno back. What's it going to cost you? It's going to cost you a 4th-round pick. They will, I guarantee you, Sam, they are going to add a guy who's a tweener, second and third guy with that 3rd or 4th-round pick. I was surprised Gus Nyquist went for a 2nd-round pick. That was a pretty price to pay for Minnesota. I would not have gave up a 2nd-round pick for him.
Yeah, and I do like Gus, and I'm pretty sure that his home base is out there by Elvis in New Albany and plans on living here. But, I mean, you're going to get to the point with the Blue Jackets. Like, if you do bring in a Foligno and you start getting some of these guys healthy, you almost have too much, right? I mean, obviously, Foligno's going to bring a piece. He's going to bring a little bit different to the locker room than, I don't know, somebody that's going to go out there and actually, put some numbers on the board. But I also saw another stat, too. I think the top scoring forward line in the entire NHL at 5-on-5, and it's not even close, was Voronkov, Marchenko, and Sean Monahan. You get Monahan back, I mean, think of what now. Yeah. Not what your second line now is after you have the Monahan back on your first line, like they could do some damage. I do, and you get Goody back. I do think there's still going to be a little bit of a weakness. What I want to see is if these guys do make the playoff, I want to see can they flip the switch to get to that next level. I think that's where bringing a guy like Foligno is going to pay its weight in gold, because he's been there. He knows how to do it. He's going to be able to kind of teach some of these younger guys, this is the way you have to play. This is the way you have to ramp up your game if you're going to be able to compete once we go from the regular season to the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Yeah, that's why Foligno's perfect. I don't think there's too much, because Van Riemsdyk has played fourth line this year, and it's something that I think he'll do. He's 35 years old. I think he'll fit that role. I love what he brings to the table, by the way. I think a guy like Nick Foligno's perfect. I think it's the perfect addition. Isn't he building a house here, I believe? I think that would be a good Foligno. Yeah, doesn't he?
I think he already has a place, and he's another guy I think that'll be camped here, settled here when he retires.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think it's just a perfect fit. He ties right in. He knows a lot of guys in that locker room, and they'd love to have him. So I think that would be perfect. This has become a much-watched team. And by the way, how'd you like how I threw that out there, your name out there in the interview? I told my buddy over the weekend that we got a big boy GM, so buckle up. You were the buddy I told. We were having a text conversation.
I like how you threw out my 3 games in Buffalo,
I did.
by the way, as well.
I used that, and then I mentioned you in an interview. So it's kind of like me giving you props during the interview.
You're welcome.
Yep. You're welcome, too. I gave you love on the air.
I love listening to Porty.
I meant what I said. This is a big boy GM with Don Waddell, where
he's smart, man.
Yeah, maybe he won't do it this year. Maybe he trades the picks at the draft. Maybe he uses the picks to move up to get a guy he wants. But this is a big boy GM where when we get to an established level, right? Because my whole problem with this team has been would Boston keep Brad Larson for 2 years? Would Boston keep Yarmo and JD as your GMs, or Scott Howson? Have some integrity. And
Boston fired Bruce Cassidy after he led them to the playoffs 6 straight seasons.
Yeah.
You think, yeah, Larson's not even sniffing an interview with Boston.
Larson would have been fired in the beginning of the season a couple years ago. So, yeah, I like that he's a big boy GM and that he's not going to be afraid to make big boy moves, and we needed that. Now, the scary part is he's 65, 66, and you know who's going to take over when he's gone, and that scares the hell out of me.
God, I hope they don't make that decision.
Scares the hell out of me. We come back. Breaking news. Someone's going to take their pants off if you're from Cincinnati. Breaking news, and we do the poll question next on the OVE podcast.
We go to war for you. At Schuerger Trial Attorneys, we don't back down. Accident? Call us today at 877-WAR-FOR-YOU or visit warforyou.com for a free consultation. Know your rights, because results matter. That's 877-WAR-FOR-YOU. 877-WAR-FOR-YOU or visit warforyou.com.
warforyou.com.
Dan Robb Management has over 40 years experience in all aspects of payroll, processing checks, tax filing, W-2 and 1099 preparation. First-time customers get 50% off their first 3 months processing fees. Give them a call now, 614-297-1158 or denrobmanagement.com. Let's go. OVE podcast time on the tour. QFM 96, Sam Grooms, Ohio versus everyone. Remember, thumbs up button. Give it a like right now. Like it, comment, get in. We'll give you a little chance to get in on the poll question. Who's going to be drafted first, Kyle McCord or Will Howard? Will Howard just didn't have a good combine. It doesn't mean he's less of a quarterback or we don't love him or don't think he's going to succeed in the pros. He just had a bad day. By the way, we are having a contest as well. What we were giving away? Were we giving away the Urban? No, were we giving away the Josh Simmons frame jersey for the? Okay, we're giving away the Urban helmet for the subscribing. The mini helmet is for what, Sam? That's just for
that was for
website.
Yeah, no, I thought the helmet was for subscribing.
Okay, mini helmet for subscribing.
There you go.
Urban helmet for Super Chat. Super Chat is on. We are doing a contest with the Super Chat. Blue Wolverine is kicking your ass. We had I Hate Jesus guy is in second, and then third is Nick D. So it's Blue Wolverine, I Hate God guy number 2, and then Nick D is 3rd. Blue Wolverine is kicking ass on Menace to Sports as well.
Yeah, are you keeping super chats open when I'm not here?
Yes.
It
just started. It just started Friday.
Oh, okay. There you go. Yeah. Well, for the future, we may need to talk about that.
Why is that?
Just because if I'm gonna keep a running list, I need to make sure I'm staying on top.
Oh, I will do it too. I'll help you.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm doing it on the side too. I'm just saying in case I forget. It's like my wife. Hey, if I forget my keys, can you figure out where I put them because I'm stupid? Where are my keys? Oh, they're in my pocket. Kind of one of those things. Yeah.
So, I do that with my sunglasses all the time. I'm like, where the hell did I put my sunglasses? And they're on my hat or on my head. Idiot. Just
breaking news. We knew this was going to happen. Good for them. I was in a little debate with a Bengals fan this weekend. Well, I'll get to that in a second. T. Higgins franchise tag. That means the Bengals have $43 million to spend in the offseason. Alex Kappa. Ding, ding, sit, go.
He go.
And I'm assuming that Sam Hubbard's on his way out too, right? That's a $9 million savings. I think Sam Hubbard been ouchy, ineffective. I think you got to move on from Sam Hubbard, right?
So I obviously saw earlier that Hendrickson wants to stick with the Bengals. I don't know. How do you keep the 2 receivers? You obviously have Joey B signed to a big deal. How do you someone's going to be collateral damage, right?
Well, here's the deal. Now they can make it work from this standpoint. This is how they make it work. Roughly 20 million goes to Jamar Chase because he wants to be 40 million. I think he makes 21 now. So that knocked that thing down to 23 million. Hendrickson has a $14-15 million deal. Let me just look at his number.
Well, can I also ask a question while you're looking that up? And this may be a good topic for another day.
Mm-hmm.
Can you win as an NFL franchise having the highest paid wide receiver in the league? I feel like the teams that win.
Yes, because they went 14-3 last year with Sam Darnold. So yeah, you can win. You just have to spread your money out in a better, you know what I mean? If you go wide receiver, in my opinion, if you go wide receiver big, then you have to go small at another big position, meaning quarterback. You can't, in my opinion, do like what the Cowboys did and pay a guy $60 million and then your receiver 32 or whatever they're paying CeeDee Lamb.
Then you got to start skimping in multiple other spots. So I guess my question to you, being Joe Burrow making the money he's making, do you think they're going to be able to deliver with Jamar Chase making that amount of money? Assuming they make him the highest paid wide receiver in the game?
So I'm doing the math on this, right? Hendrickson wants to be paid on par with Nick Bosa. So let's just say Cincinnati does everything right? And re-signs everyone. They got about $5 million left. As it stands now, I think they're still going to make it other moves. Sam Hubbard, Pratt wants to be, paid. I think you can get rid of those guys, and that's another $15 million, roughly. So that gives you like $20 million to spend in the free market after re-signing your guys. Sam, here's the thing. I got into a little debate with a nice Bengal fan where he just thinks changing the defensive coordinator, Lou Amarello, out is going to fix this defense. My point to Bengal fans is this. Was Lou Amarello doing alligator arm tackles last year? Was he blowing coverages? I understand it's the coordinator, the defensive back coach, and some of those, but there's some of those just bad coverage, bad pass interference calls. Look at the Chiefs game. For that guy in that position, I don't think you can blame coaches. The guy just pulled a boner, right? But they were a very bad tackling team. So maybe a coach comes in and they fix, Zach Taylor's really good. When he came in, they were the most penalized team. In year one, they were the least penalized team. That's called good coaching. I give the guy a tremendous amount of credit for that. But I don't know, Sam, where you have a guy, one of the highest paid defensive linemen, one of the highest paid wide receivers, one of the highest paid quarterbacks. I don't think you could do 2 wide receivers.
And a guy and another wide receiver that's on his second year of franchise tag.
Yeah.
There's not enough pie to go around.
No. Like case in point, I think Minnesota's going to be in trouble. I think Jordan Addison is better than T. Higgins. He just is. And And T. Higgins, it really sucks for him because he could have made $30 million long term in the offseason and got a big payday. Who knows what happens next year with him, right? He's had a tendency to be ouchy. Minnesota can't keep Jordan Addison and
Justin Jefferson.
You can't keep them both. You can't do that. Maybe you can because you got J.J. McCarthy as your quarterback, but that's going to be problems. I don't know how, Sam, the Bengals add needs on that defense, because what does $15 million do? $15 million get you one more starter somewhere, and then you got holes to fill. Defensive line. You need another guy. Jenkins will probably start. You might need a guy, a defensive tackle. You need someone on the opposite side of Hendrickson. If Pratt goes, you need another linebacker. You definitely need a corner. So they got needs on the defense, but you got to re-sign your core guys, man, if you want to win. Now, some fans think if you bring back those 4 core guys and a new defensive coordinator, they're ready to win. I would respond to Bengal fans. Did you watch your defense last year?
Well, and that was the thing that I talked about in the offseason when we were trying to do predictions is you had the second worst defense in the 23 season, and you went out and signed 2 older safeties and thought that was going to be the fix, like the solution.
Yeah.
All the while in the offseason leading into the season last year, you pissed off who was, again, the leading sack getter in the league. So, again, I just don't know how you can tie up that much money in 3 or 4 different players and try to field anybody else around them. I just don't. I think they're in this, even if they had all the money in the world, they're still working with the salary cap, and you're going to have potentially 4 guys eating up, 40% of your salary cap, 30% of your salary cap. How are you going to field a 50-plus man roster after that? I don't think it's feasible.
I think someone did the numbers, and when they re-sign everybody, it'll be 52% of Cincinnati's salary cap.
On 4 players?
On those 4 players.
I'm sorry, it's not going to work.
Yeah, I think what happened too was, who was the guy in Michigan, the corner that really burned them? What happened, Dax Hill. What happened, Sam, is Jesse Bates left. They tagged him for a year, and then he left. And it was when safeties weren't getting money, and now they're people are realizing their value. I think Cam Bynum is going to get about $15 million a year in the free agent market. They let Jesse Bates walk to Atlanta, and they brought in Dax Hill from Michigan to be the replacement, and now they moved him to corner because it didn't work out at safety. And I know they got Geno Stone. Geno Stone had a bad year last year. I mean, he just simply had a bad year. They got a safety issue right now in Cincinnati, whether they address that in the draft or not. But defensive tackle's an issue, linebackers a little issue, safeties and defensive back. They got a lot of young guys, so they got to hope that those guys make steps and take steps and trust Duke Tobin's drafting. But yeah, I'm with you. 4 guys takes 52% of your salary cap. That's a lot.
I don't think it's going to work until I'm proved otherwise. I just don't know how tying up that much money. I don't care how good those particular players are. If you don't have, if 50% of your money is going to 4 players, that means what? What's the roster? 58, 56, 52?
52 guys, yeah.
So you got 50% of your salary cap, $125 million to pay 50 more guys or 48 more guys. I don't know how you can make that work.
The good news about the Bengals is their contracts are so clean. Without Joe Burrow's the only one with the voidable year, and I think it's like $8 million at the end. And you could easily push that down. When they re-sign him, they'll take that and they'll throw it on at the end of the next deal. I love how Cincinnati does their caps. It's old school. It's what Rick Spielman did with the Vikings. Remember when the Vikings were 13-3 and they lost to the Eagles? And they brought everybody back and then added Kirk Cousins. The Bengals, when they're ready to do it, because their contracts are clean and there's very little cap penalty for that, they're going to be in a position to add someone big, and it's not really going to destroy them in the cap. But you're right, though. 4 guys, 52% of your cap. It'll be interesting when Dallas signs Micah Parsons of what that does to Dallas's cap, because he's going to be the highest paid guy. They're going to have the highest paid defensive end, $35 million. The second highest paid receiver, and then the highest paid quarterback. It'll be interesting. Dallas doesn't win.
Yeah.
Bengal fans think they're going to win. I don't know. That's a damn tough division, and we don't know what the Steelers are going to do. But then again, the Browns are horse crap, so that benefits them. Sam, poll question. Who's going to be the higher draft pick, Will Howard or Kyle McCord?
I was coming into this thinking it was probably going to be Will Howard, but then I started thinking a little bit more critically about this. I think I think McCord's got the bigger arm, and it seems like the brass in the NFL put a little higher. They put a little more credit or credos behind that. So I think McCord's got the bigger arm than Will Howard. I think that Kyle McCord will be drafted before Will Howard, even though if I were running an organization, I would take Will Howard first.
I think Will Howard throws a better pass. I think Will Howard can look off his primary receiver. I don't think Kyle McCord can do that. I think Kyle McCord benefited against an easy schedule. It's good to have a year or 3 years at Ohio State under your belt. It puts you that type of coaching he had, puts him ahead of everybody in that quarterback room for Syracuse, right? And they're playing in the ACC. I think when you look at the film, and I've always been a fan of who are the big teams on your roster, right? I'm playing against, what did he do against the big games, right? Obviously, we know Michigan wasn't his fault. They're going to throw that thing in the trash. But look what Will Howard did against Tennessee, Texas, Oregon. I'm out of order here. And Notre Dame. He lit it up. And they're going to look at that tape and go, that's the guy we want. Are we? And he had some other great games as well. Are we going to get that guy? You know what I'm watching Fox Sports right now, and they're talking about Will Howard's rough combine. It's everywhere right now. You're right, Sam. He's got to have a good pro day with his guys. I still think Will Howard goes in the third round because I think someone will look, a winning team, meaning late in the third round. I think a winning team will look at him and go, you know what? We might need a quarterback in a few years, and let's take him because we can develop him. Who cares about the combine? He can sit in our system. There are certain guys. I could see the Rams taking him, Sam. I don't know what their draft position situation is, but I could see a guy like Sean McVay looking at Will Howard and going, you know what? Stafford's got 2 years left with us. Could this guy be my next guy where he could sit in my room, learn from Matt Stafford, and be the heir apparent in year 3 of his deal? I think he could do that. But with the other 10, with Kyle McCord, no one's going to look at Kyle McCord and say, that's my future starting quarterback. People will with Will Howard.
You got the right state. I'm telling you who's going to pick Will Howard right now. It's going to be Kyle Shanahan and the San Francisco 49ers.
Maybe.
Because I think that system is very plug and play. He's a reasonably athletic guy. He's a pretty athletic or accurate passer. I think he's going to wind up in the Niners, but like you said, third, fourth round guy at some point.
Yeah. I mean, McCord's got a good arm, but I just don't think the other stuff. I guess it comes down to a coach's ego of looking at a guy with an arm and going, well, I can make him into something, right?
Well,
I generally think, though, a guy is who he is, right? And I don't know how much coaching can change bad habits of not being able to go through your progression, right? That's why I like Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders goes through his progression very quick and then either throws it or makes a move. Kyle McCord, I don't think, Sam, is a guy. Can you teach Kyle McCord to go through his progressions like that? I don't think you can. Some coach may think they can, but I think they're going to be wrong.
Yeah, and I'm trying to apply some logic to this, try to get into the minds of some of these coaches and GMs, but then it's all completely thrown off by the fact that I watched J.J. McCarthy, who was not a very good thrower of the football, get drafted 10th in the first round of last year's draft. I don't know, man. Like, it's such a crapshoot with the value or overvaluing of quarterbacks that the NFL puts on these players.
Yeah, the thing with J.J. McCarthy, though, let's be honest, because I can't stand him either, is he put the ball where it needed to be, though, in key moments. I mean, didn't it seem like he knew where to put the football in places that normal other guys couldn't? Maybe he didn't have the rocket arm or the beautiful pass, but I think he placed the ball kind of in the position where only his receiver is going to get it, or he made some big plays, man. I got to give the guy credit. Now, did the team know the plays? Yes. Do I hate Michigan? Yes. But you can't say that guy's not a competitor. I'm surprised, actually, you talk plug and play, Sam. J.J. McCarthy would be perfect for that San Francisco system.
Yeah, that's probably fair. Athletic guy.
And he'll be perfect for Kevin O'Connell. I mean, look at what Kevin O'Connell's done there with his quarterbacks. He'll be perfect with that team, man. He'll be perfect. He's got a great set of weapons. They're revamping their interior of their offensive line. He'll do well. It's going to kill me to say this, but he'll do well in Minnesota because it's the right structure in the environment. A lot of times you see, look at Justin Fields, 2 crappy situations for him. Look at Sam Darnold. Why does he succeed in Minnesota and nowhere else? Because it's crappy. What situation do you put your quarterback in as a draft pick, right? That dictates whether you're going to succeed or not in the NFL. In a nutshell, that's it. And Will Howard has an opportunity, since he's not one of the top guys, to be taken later in a round, and then a team looking at him and going, you know what? He sucked at the combine, but we have the film. Put in the film. I've watched film with coaches. You know, I don't know what analytics have done to the game, Sam, but there's a lot of coaches who love putting the tape, and they get jollies. You know, there's a lot of GMs that look at analytics, the Giants, the Browns, the Minnesota Vikings, where they fall in love in analytics, and look at how those teams have drafted. Minnesota's drafted horribly. The Browns, well, they haven't had a first-round pick, but they haven't drafted well. The Giants, Neighbors is good, though, but you know what I mean.
And that's the thing, like, the NFL is an accuracy league when it comes to quarterbacks, and I will always overweight game film, what the guy actually does in a game versus him throwing against air in his underwear. So, I think you can I think you could kind of add to what you see on game film, or, you know, kind of supplement, I guess is the word I want to use, your combine performance versus what you put on tape. But at the end of the day, I'm going with what you're putting on tape against defenses as a quarterback. I'm going to evaluate that way more than what I'm going to evaluate what I see at a combine. And again, I do want to reserve the right. I would probably say McCord's going to get picked right now ahead of Will Howard because of just how big his arm is. But
how many put in the tape? When we talk about put in the tape, though, didn't McCord throw 5 interceptions and a half?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
3 pick sixes. Again, I'm not saying I'm trying to apply some logic to this. What I'm saying is these coaches sometimes and these GMs think, well, they just, you know, they didn't develop him right. They didn't coach him right. He's going to come in and we're going to be able to make him right. That's the issue. It's like, I hear completely what you're saying, and I completely agree with you. But we're also trying to be logical about this when sometimes these GMs, that's not how they approach it. They fall in love with a guy.
Quarterback IQ is something. You can't tell me that Kyle McCord has high quarterback IQ. You can't. You could tell me he has a strong arm. You can't tell me he goes through his progression well. You could tell me he's athletic. I think he's athletic. I mean, he's not a natural scrambler, but I think he's athletic enough to play that position. I don't think you could be an Aaron Rodgers from the athletic side. Rodgers, I thought, was not old man Aaron Rodgers, but I thought Rodgers was very athletic, and you wouldn't call him a scrambler. C.J. Stroud kind of fits that mold. I don't think he's as good of an athlete as C.J. Stroud, but you know what I'm getting. There are good parts of Kyle McCord's game. You think I'm biased. I'm just saying Kyle McCord will never be a starting quarterback in the NFL. Kyle McCord might never be a backup quarterback in the NFL. He looks to me as, and Will Howard might never be a backup quarterback. It depends on the situation. These guys are going to come in as 2 third-string quarterbacks and then get lucky and get a break, get an opportunity to play, or get a coach that looks at them as the heir apparent, where maybe they have starting quarterback, journeyman backup, right? Then Will Howard, when they know the journeyman backup's not your future, right? The third string is my future if he's proven it to me. There's been plenty of guys. Look, Brock Purdy, 7th-round pick. There's been plenty of guys in this league who are not first-round picks who are starting quarterbacks in this league. I just don't see Kyle McCord as a starting quarterback in the NFL ever. I just don't. Maybe not with Will Howard's not either. But I think with upside, Will Howard's got more upside, doesn't he?
Probably, yeah. But I'm with you. Unless there's a situation where you're 2 or 3 quarterbacks deep and you have to have kind of a forced start. Now, I could see either of those quarterbacks, if given the opportunity, at least create the buzz around their game to maybe hold on to the position or create buzz to where they become trade bait for another organization to come out and trade for them because they need somebody to come in and start. We've seen it before. I mean, I know it's an anomaly and everyone wants to bring it up, but Tom Brady's a perfect example.
Yeah. You just got to seize your opportunity.
Yeah, you absolutely do.
When you do and you don't do it, you'll be out of the league. They'll look at you and go, that dude can't play. You know, and even though it's not fair, but it is what it is. You know, I mean, you got to capitalize on your opportunity. We come back. The penis punch heard around the world. A legend retires. I don't know if it's a huge loss, a trade in the NFL. And tomorrow's the last day to tag players, by the way. I want to throw that in the Bengals, if you're just tuning in. Bengals have tagged T. Higgins. So good news for you Bengal fans. We're back in 60 seconds, OVE podcast. Hey, it's Torg for Custom Air. You know, when it comes to my HVAC system, I don't trust just anyone. I trust Custom Air. These guys are fast, reliable, and they know their stuff. Fall's just around the corner, and now's the perfect time to make sure your HVAC equipment is running at its best. Don't wait until it's too late. Get ahead of the game. I wouldn't trust anyone else with my home, and neither should you. Visit them on the web at customairco.com and keep your home comfortable all season long. Custom solutions, custom comfort, Custom Air. Thinking of buying or selling a home? Give Lauren Torgerson a call with Next Home Experience. Lauren has been servicing the Columbus metropolitan area for 10 years. So whether you're a first-time home buyer, considering building, want to upsize or downsize, Lauren can help you with all your real estate needs. Get a free market analysis for your area and get started working on making tomorrow's dreams happen today. Call or text Lauren at 614-296-3952, 614-296-3952, or email at torgersonlauren@gmail.com. It is the OVE podcast, Ohio versus everyone. Hear me mornings, QFM 96. In fact, Tuesday is going to be a special show. There's a lot of struggling businesses out there. There's a lot of restaurants that are struggling, a lot of bars that are struggling, Sam. Tomorrow at 7 o'clock, we're going to take calls and texts from local owners, businesses. If you have a business in your area and they're struggling, we want to help you, man. We're here to service this city. We love this city on our show. I love Columbus. 2 of my kids were born here. My youngest moved here when he was like 6 months old. So he's from Columbus. So tomorrow, 7 o'clock, QFM 96, we are going to take calls and talk about people who need help, man. And then how you can help too. Help your community. Don't be a D-bag. So we're going to do that tomorrow at 7. I know a couple businesses who need help, and let's help each other, man. Don't let the act, my character on the air, fool you. I have a huge heart. I honest to God, do. Huge heart. Just not on air. It's the shtick. It's the character, though.
Sometimes it's not working properly, but yeah, huge heart.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't work. But I do have a good heart. I'm one of those people, and I do work with a couple charities, but I don't talk about what I think. That's just awful when people go on the air and go, well, I did this. I worked at a soup kitchen today. I think is that charity if you're telling people about it?
Bragging about it.
Yeah, I hate that. I hate when people, what I did today is I hate when people do that. You want to slap on the back. How about just doing something good, being humble, and shut your big fat mouth?
Before we get to the dick punch, we do have a super chat. Blue Wolverine had a question. Appreciate the 5. If I win, Asian Pasha Doreen can pick it up, right?
Absolutely, because it'll be at the radio station.
Yeah, and she's local.
Let's pick it up with the super chat, Buckeye fans. We're going to let Blue Wolverine beat us. Come on, Jesus guy. Guy who hates God. Let's go. Maybe we scared him off, Sam. Your anti-Satan rant against him ran off. You should have went. I love Satan.
Hey, man, I told you I'll let you live. I didn't agree with him, but I'll let you live.
I've never met anyone like, hey, that Satan is a great dude.
Well, I met a couple, but that relationship ended quickly.
Did you see the Hilliard-Bradley Reynoldsburg basketball game? What happened?
So I saw the clip. I had not heard about it. I wasn't hungover yesterday, but I was not moving around very quickly. I'm pretty sure I drank 2 gallons of water yesterday, and at no point ever had to take a piss. So a little dry yesterday.
You got to do the high-end alcohol. You'll never get hungover.
I wasn't hungover, though. That's the thing. I think I slept it off long enough because I slept into like 10:30. But honestly, I think I drank a bunch of beer, which is the issue.
Mm-hmm.
So it just kind of dried me out because you're pissing every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But I didn't see much of anything yesterday. So I saw this clip when on the show sheet. Not a good look.
Yeah. Agree. What happened is Hilliard, Hilliard-Bradley?
Give me 1 second, I'll pull it up.
They were up by 5 points in the game. A Reynoldsburg player punched this guy after he passed the ball in the dick. Punched the guy in the dick. They didn't give him a technical. The Reynoldsburg head coach did not pull him out of the game. That is despicable. I don't know where. Maybe someone in the chat can help me. He should be suspended for the rest of the playoffs. I've seen Reynoldsburg play. I saw Reynoldsburg play Canal. They have like 3 Division I players. I think Devin Royal went there. And Royal's become a pretty decent player for the Buckeyes. Reynoldsburg's got a really good team. They were feeling the heat. They were frustrated because they were losing. It was the district finals. That kid should never play high school ball again. You punched a guy in his dick. It hurt. Trust me, I've been hit in the junk twice where I still remember it to this day. There's no place for that. Shame on the awful Ohio officials. They should all be, you know what they should do? Fly in Vincent Kennedy McMahon, have those refs walk into a room, and then Mr. McMahon says, "You're fired." And if it's a female ref, Vince could pull down his pants. But yeah, those guys should be fired. And you know what? Maybe the Reynoldsburg coach should be fired too for allowing that guy to play after a dick punch. Because obviously he knew it happened afterwards. And to me, that Reynoldsburg coach should be looking for a job today because I would have fired him as well.
Yeah, that's it's one thing to throw an elbow or go high, but the thing you can't do is dick punch. Like that's a no-no.
And it's not a question, Sam. If you watch the video, he was trying to punch.
The pass is thrown and it's a right cross right to the groin. Like it's no question what he was trying to do.
Oh, Royal went to Pick North. I'm sorry. Same area. Sorry. Oopsie.
Yeah, you can't do that. No nut shots.
No, but I am correct though. Reynoldsburg does have some Division I dudes. At least it looked like it to me.
Well, I mean, even when I was at Gahanna, they always had some talented guys. They had John Ferguson, I think was his name. He played basketball. He was like 6'6", but he was their quarterback, and I'm pretty sure he played D1 somewhere as a quarterback. But he was like 6'6" or 6'8". I remember I had to guard him, which was never the fun. But yeah, like they've always had some athletes for sure.
Yeah, I can't say, and this is not me saying I got asked yesterday. I know a bunch of coaches, and I was asked by a coach to like join the board for their sport, right? Like fundraising board. And I so don't want to do it, but it's like a friend of mine. So I feel like I have to do it. And I'm like, oh man, oh boy. If you've been a parent and been part of this, oh boy, they're bickering. Oh.
So apparently I just looked him up. John Ferguson, I was right, played quarterback at Akron, and he is now in his 3rd year coaching quarterbacks at Otterbein.
Oh,
there you go.
My kid turned down Otterbein.
Don't know much about their football program. I knew a bunch of the guys that
Durazio went there. Durazio played quarterback at Otterbein. Yeah, my kid is officially going to be, did they change their name? What's Miami of Ohio now?
They're the Red Hawks.
What were they before?
Redskins.
What's the problem? My kid's honor program, Fisher Business School. Honor program. There you go.
Pretty good.
Yeah, really.
That'll open some doors.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard that. So I desperately wanted to go to Miami and play ball.
Uh-huh.
But that year they needed pitchers. They got first baseman the year before, position players. I've heard that Miami used to be kind of like the Ivy League of the MAC or whatever you want to call it. I've heard that they've kind of dropped off a little bit academically. Is that true?
I think though not the honors and the Fisher Business School though. It's very hard to get in. You have to have a 4.3 to get in.
Damn.
Yeah, so that's very difficult.
Yeah, I wanted to go play ball there. I remember they had the baseball field, I think it just opened. Was it the Lerner family or basically the people that owned Midland Baseball, the Midland Baseball program down in Cincinnati, I want to say gave the money for this field, and it was fantastic.
Am I a bad dad if I talked my kid into joining a frat?
No, that's your thing.
I told him you might want to think about doing it. Like it opens a lot of doors for people.
Well, I mean, it's all relationships, friendships, and stuff like that you're going to make. Like my frat was the baseball team. I had 40 other guys that were all pretty close that you saw on a daily basis. So, yeah, I mean, if it's something you want to kind of make some friends, not a bad thing to do.
Well, I told him when I had a buddy who was in a frat at University of Minnesota. We'd go to their parties, and I told me and my buddy were working a couple girls, And they go, what frat are you in? We said Sega Alpha Nintendo, and it worked. By the way, I got bad info. Devin Royal, pick Central. Come on, chat. If you're going to tell me something and I go with it, come on, at least get it right for me.
Pop's always told me, if you're going to lie convincingly.
Yeah.
What's his name from Seinfeld say? It's not a lie if you believe it.
Mm-hmm. Hey, speaking of Fox broadcasting, I was going to get into Jimmy Johnson officially retired today on the Colin Cowherd show. Officially, he did during the Super Bowl, though. He alluded to it when they did a montage video. Your guy, Gordy Gronkowski, was in town this weekend, and you and I did not get a phone call or a text.
How'd you know I didn't get a text?
Oh, you did?
No. Well, I texted him first.
Okay, got you.
And he goes, oh, man, I was waiting for you to reach out to me.
Well, you're in town, dude. It's not your responsibility to reach out to you.
Yeah, like I didn't even know you were coming to town. It's like, dude, I got a kid. Like I can't just pick up and.
Should I send a group text after this show to him and me and you?
You can leave. You can text him. I've already talked to him.
Well, I'm going to put you in it just to.
All right.
Just so you could be involved.
Yeah, apparently all the brothers were in town.
Yeah, I saw them. Yeah,
I saw at least 3. I would imagine 4. I don't know if Glenn was here.
Do you know all of them?
Yeah, I've met them all.
Okay. Who's the one you know best outside of Gordy?
Probably Chris. Chris is number. So it was Gordy, Dan, Chris, Rob, Glenn. So probably Chris, which was the middle one.
And Glenn was the one who went to Kansas State, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Dan went to Maryland, and I believe Chris went to Arizona as well.
Yeah. Jimmy Johnson retired. To me, listen, Jimmy Johnson is a Hall of Fame coach, obviously. But when on the broadcasting side, Jimmy Johnson didn't do it to me. There's guys on the broadcast who just don't say anything, right? Bradshaw doesn't say anything. Jimmy Johnson didn't say anything. Then there's guys who bring up good points. I think the ESPN guys will bring up really good points at times. And some of them don't say anything. But Jimmy Johnson was a guy who took space and was there because of his name. Jimmy Johnson's like 80, I think. Did you ever see the video? They went into Jimmy Johnson's house in Miami. The dude had like I know a couple people that have these high-end aquariums. Jimmy Johnson had such a humongous aquarium. He had like a shark in it. It was like high-end. He had like a big room in his house. And I don't know if he lives in Miami or not. He seems to me as a Miami guy. And this room was filled with an aquarium, and it had like a humongous shark. You ever see that? I've never seen the show, but there's this show about a reality show about the guys. Someone in the chat can help me out. That put in the high-end aquarium tanks. Do you know what I'm talking about?
It's a reality show?
It's a reality show where these guys go in and they put in these.
Oh, yeah. So it's like a pimp your ride, but they're doing high-end aquariums?
Yes.
I think I know of it. I never watched it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking. I haven't watched either. By the way,
I think fish are weird pets to have.
You think so?
Yeah, like they just swim around and eat flakes. Like there's no, at least like a dog or cat or curl up next to you.
Do you know we have 2 aquariums?
Of course you do.
No, here's why. When we moved into the house, they have a saltwater, like the people who owned the house before me had a saltwater aquarium. And they said, do you want to buy? And I said, no, I have my own, like for the kids, kids like fish. I go, no, we got our own. And they go, well, can we leave it? And then I looked at it. It was like the guy from Aquatic Adventures said, no, that's a really nice aquarium. And it had this beautiful, expensive coral in it. And all it has is one clownfish, and he's still alive. My wife wants to get rid of it. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I think we keep it. Because it looks nice. And then
Let the clownfish decide when you get rid of it.
Yes. And well, it's hard to get rid of it because it's so heavy. And then in our 3-season room, we just have our little goofy fish. The little goofy, little blue fish or whatever.
Yeah.
That like die all the time. Probably something like that. It's not my thing, dude.
Dory was a hippotang. I know that.
Oh, got you. Let her live. Yeah, Jimmy Johnson retired. We had Debo, dude, the team formerly known as the Redskins absolutely stole Debo Samuel. Absolutely steal. Now Washington can roll out that offense with the best young quarterback in the league and 2 legits. Washington can use Samuel like the 49ers did a couple years ago, where they put him in the backfield, move him around the field. Listen, I know he hasn't been healthy or good the last couple years, but now you got McLaurin and him, that was a huge coup for the artists formerly known as the Redskins. It really was.
I mean, it almost makes you wonder what do the 49ers know that we don't? Because what was it, a 5th-round draft pick? Seems awfully low to me for a guy of that ability.
Agree. You got to wonder what the hell's going on, right?
I mean, they're not just going to let him walk.
Well, they needed the cap space, right? So you freed up cap space, and then you already have weapons on that team. You already have Kittle and right. You have definitely other stuff on the team. So I think it'll work out fine for the 49ers. And they drafted that kid from Indiana in the 1st round who got shot last year. So it's not like they were probably trying to make room anyway, and then to clear the cap space is everything for them. I mean, to me that works. We talked penis punch. This week with the show, I'm going to try to go live tomorrow, do a little wrestling. Wednesday I'm out. How's your Thursday?
I would probably need to be done early, but I should be available.
All right, we're doing Thursday. We are not doing Friday. I am on a plane to Syracuse to watch Syracuse basketball. Syracuse, Virginia. Final game of the season in the ACC. Meeting my father, going with people here. Kind of a guys trip, 3 of us going out there. And then going out for the basketball game. Then flying back, I'll be in town in the afternoon Sunday morning. So a little guys trip. So we are not doing the show Sunday. Wednesday, listen to this, Sam. No show Wednesday unless I tape. But so if we do wrestling on Wednesday, it's taped. I'll just let you know now. I am going to see Purple Rain at Easton. It's been released one day. Me and my son are going 4:00 show, Purple Rain on the big screen. The movie's ass. All right. I'm not going to say it's a great movie. I'm not going to lie to you, but to see it my first time on the big screen, dude, I'm from Minnesota.
Yeah, it's like sacrilegious to be from Minnesota and not like Prince, right?
We'll throw you out. We will throw you out. It's like Fargo. If Fargo came on, people from Minnesota hate Fargo. They hate Fargo. Hate it because Fargo's North Dakota. They go, it's not even a movie about us. It's North Dakota. Dude, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It really is. People from Minnesota go, we don't talk like that. Yes, you
do.
You do. Stop denying it and embrace it.
That's great.
Yes. All right. We are out of here. Yeah, I think we're back tomorrow. Good stuff. Good show today, Sam. New clothes is coming soon, so Ricky Stanzi may be retired. We'll figure it out. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you guys.
Well, of course. I mean, there's nothing better than being American. So, I mean, this is the greatest feeling. If you don't love it, leave it. USA, #1.